Give me 1 second, Cesar.
And italics means it's a public member. What's that?
No, 1 second, Cesar. Oh, you're saying on that? Yeah. No. You're good to go.
Okay, great. We're just going to ask for folks who are joining us remotely to make sure they mute themselves. Thank you. Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Cesar Zuniga, and I'm chairing the nomination committee. Welcome. Thank you for being here. Committee members, thank you for being here. We were a little nervous that we might have not reached quorum, but we have. So obviously today we're going to entertain a conversation about nominating folks for the next executive committee. Before I get started, I want to just talk a little bit about some of the criteria that I hope we can consider. As they wrote. Oh yes. So let's do a roll call just to get it.
Cesar Zuniga. Diane Gonzalez. Here. Nicole Wong. Erin Keith. Here. Joanne Romero. Catherine Walsh. Here. Since Gladys Burrell dropped out, nominating committee members in person, we have quorum. And Julio, Pat, and Jerry, I also marked that you're president at this meeting. Quorum.
Okay. So as I was saying, I want to just go over some criteria that I think can help guide this conversation. As I expressed in the email, it's not the law; it's just some suggestions. And obviously, if after I kind of go through some of this, if you all feel like there's something else we need to add into the mix, I'm happy to entertain that. Not a problem. When we get started, so I think obviously the first, for me, the first criteria that feels pretty essential and important is that we nominate folks that have demonstrated leadership and service to the board. I think essentially priority should be given to members who have consistently demonstrating leadership, collaboration, reliability, and a strong commitment to the work of the board. And obviously that can include prior or current executive committee service, committee leadership, consistent participation and engagement, and a willingness to take on difficult or substantive work on behalf of the board. And I kind of want to just underline collaboration and a commitment to working together. I think it's important that members of the executive committee are able to allow different perspectives. Excuse me. To allow different perspectives. I think this is a very diverse community, and we all have a lot of different opinions and ideas about a range of issues. And I think the leadership needs to be able to accommodate that and not utilize positions up here to weigh in on any specific ideology or issue. I think, the leadership really is about facilitating conversation among people with various perspectives. So I think we definitely need to pay attention to that. The next criteria for me is attendance, participation, and institutional commitment. Members who regularly attend full board meetings and committee meetings, contribute constructively, and actively support the functioning of the board should be strongly considered. Leadership roles require a demonstrated investment of time and energy into the institution. So obviously we should consider that. The next one is
residency and connection to the district. Again, the rules are pretty clear. You can serve on a board if you live here, if you work here, or if you have some vested interest in the in the community. I do think that residency for me sort of rises to the top of that list. Um, it's important for people who want to lead this board to make sure that they understand the lived experiences of our neighbors. Again, it's not a requirement; it's just kind of a suggestion. So again, while not a formal requirement for all leadership decisions, I believe that the committee should thoughtfully consider prioritizing members who live within district CB7, given the importance of local accountability and connection to the community we serve. The next one I think is again kind of important. Continuity and stability of leadership. The committee should consider the practical implications of term limits and pending departures from the board. Leadership transitions are already significant undertakings for all of us, and where possible, we should seek to avoid creating avoidable instability or requiring additional executive committee elections within a short time frame. So there's a number of us who are obviously term limited out in this coming year. So just something to keep in mind. Again, these are not laws; these are just suggestions. Collaboration and ability to work across perspectives. Kind of underlined that before, but again, I just want to make sure that we really consider that because again, very, very diverse a range of perspectives in this community, and I think we need leaders to make sure that we accommodate that. So, executive committee leadership requires the ability to work collaboratively with a wide range of stakeholders, including board members, elected officials, city agencies, and community members. Most importantly, the ability to build consensus and maintain professionalism under pressure should be an important consideration. And then the final one is representation and balance. I think the committee may also wish to consider how the proposed slate reflects the diversity, geography, experience, and perspectives represented within Community Board 7 and the board itself. So ultimately, our role is to recommend a slate that positions the board for effective governance. I think that's the most important thing to keep in mind. But also continuity. I think it's important for the notion that this community has changed so dramatically and rapidly over the last few years. I think lots of new folks have are coming in to want to live in the district, and I just want to make sure that we honor the fact that while we welcome people coming in, we also want to honor the fact that there have been people on the ground doing the work, understanding the context and the history of this community. And, personally, I see this in politics a lot in elected representatives, people who show up, parachute into a district, say all the right things, produce all the right commercials and memes, and suddenly they've displaced again, folks who have been on the ground doing the hard work of the community. So just something for us to consider as we think about the next slate of leaders for this community board. So again, I just want to reiterate that these are just perspectives as chair that I've taken the privilege of kind of outlining. Happy to entertain if committee members feel like there are other criteria for us to consider. I'm happy to entertain that now.
I think I just wanted to react to a couple of these. So thanks for putting them down. I think it's really good before we get into a discussion about the potential slate, just like what the criteria, what the values are, because I think that's something that people will be really interested in when proposing a slate. So just with what's here, I would say not to say what is missing, but more just what I would like to offer that I see is really valuable is, and the role of thinking about that leadership group is of your list, just calling out this idea of collaboration and ability to work across perspectives. I think that really resonated with me in terms of the tone and the the ability to facilitate difficult conversations. And again, as we're going to have, additional zoning, investment, changes that are happening in the district, really the role of the leadership and executive committee being able to kind of set the stage and set the right stage and create the right environment. So actually that one resonates the most, is that collaboration and ability to work across perspectives and where people are coming from. Then the other is that representation and balance. And I think that the slate reflecting the diversity and experience and geography. And then I would say the continuity and stability of leadership. It's really important for us to think about an investment today that at least gets us through, the next couple of years, especially that we're just at the start of this new mayoral administration, that we have some continuity. So I just wanted to share those where I think you went through 6, and those were the 3 that kind of resonated the most with me.
Any other committee members want to add or react to the ideas or the criteria that we're hoping to use for this? Yeah, okay, please.
I had an idea in my head and then I forgot what it was. It just flew away.
Take your time.
It's okay. Yeah. Take your time. Erin?
I also really appreciated the collaboration and ability to work across perspectives. I know that in my time personally, being a part of the land use committee, I know a lot of these topics that come through the community board can sometimes get very passionate. And I think it's always good to have a perspective, but to have a certain level of objectivity that we want to take in multiple perspectives and really honor them, whether we personally agree with them or not. And I think that it's that part is important to maintain a sense of grounding as a part of every one of these boards, because I mean all of the committees, because I think that each committee has probably divisive or topics that we all go through, especially with funding and everything. And so I think that part is very important.
So one of the things I was thinking about was the continuity and stability of leadership. And I think it's a really good point that we have to try to avoid having too much churn, but we also need to figure out a way for people who have more experience on the board and who are more knowledgeable to pass that on before they go. And so sometimes maybe keeping someone on as chair 2 years longer of a particular committee might help with transference of knowledge, but it would be bad in terms of having more turnover as leadership of that committee. So sort of balancing these two possibly conflicting concerns.
The borough president did a event for people who were finishing their terms in 2027. So I think the only people who were there for CB7 was myself and Pat. And it was very nice. They gave certificates. But one of the things that resonated with me in the presentation was they said, you all who are leaving in 2027, your terms are ending. We really encourage you to think about creating a transition committee. And a transition committee could be set up to do lots of things. They could also be fun social things, but really also that institutional knowledge. And so kind of parallel to the conversation we're having today about the executive committee, it's one thing that I would, whoever steps into those roles, I think we should really consider setting up a transition committee and gathering some of that.
Yeah,
I
for
think
sure.
tonight, just to Diana's point, I think tonight we're only doing executive committee, not the, okay, but yeah, think about the transition, yeah.
Okay, so thank you. I think I obviously co-sign everyone because everything everyone said, and I appreciate that it reflects what some of the ideas that I came in with. And I think, again, particularly, for me, the role of a leader is to create conditions for dialogue as opposed to stamping their perspectives or their agendas, right? I think that's weak leadership, and strong leadership is encourages disagreement and manages it, and like tries to incorporate it and inform whatever decision is before the body. So I really appreciate, Aaron, that perspective. Okay, so I want to sort of treat this as a conversation. If people have any additional, well, I think, again, yeah, if people have any additional kind of like things for us to consider. Otherwise, I want to, maybe start thinking about concretely some names.
So where I need help is actually who is in what positions currently,
That's a great, let's.
because I don't see that in the materials we're looking at. Okay.
These are the board members who are on the executive committee. You have Julio Pena, who's the chairperson, Pat Ruiz, who's first vice chair, Cynthia Jeffers, who is second vice chair. Then you have the secretary, who is John DeLuper. Assistant secretary was Karen Rolnick, but she wasn't reappointed to the board, so that position is currently vacant. We have the treasurer, which is Rosie Mota. We have the community engagement officer, which is, I believe, Jerry Chan. Correct me if I'm wrong. And then we have the sergeant at arms. Hold on. I know I'm going to get this confused because I'm going to like switch the people. So I believe the sergeant at arms is Sam Sierra. And hold on, the assistant sergeant of arms.
Dan Kaminsky.
Thank you, Julio. So that's the current slate of the executive committee.
And those are all the seats that we have to propose tonight for slate, correct?
Correct.
Just to be clear, obviously chair, first vice chair, second vice, secretary, assistant secretary, treasurer, community affairs, community engagement specialist.
Specialist. And then you have the sergeant of arms and assistant sergeant of arms. Correct.
And just again, in terms of process and procedure, a slate will be developed,
Yes.
and then
Yes, after
we check in with the individuals to make sure they accept the nomination, or how's that work?
us are gonna need Julio's help on this. So at the next week's board meeting during committee reports.
Can you want to answer? I think Diana can answer. Sure.
Okay, thank you, Diana.
Last year, I was nominated without any prior notice
Okay.
for assistant sergeant at arms, which I then declined.
Yeah, so
I don't think we should do it that way.
That's
yeah, usually at the board meeting during the nominations committee report, you would make your report, and then I think they would open up the floor to nominations from the floor. So I guess it would be best practice to, if you're going to nominate someone, to speak with them prior to nominating them to make sure they would accept the nomination, or just getting like a decline from them. Julio, is that correct?
So so what we've done in the past is the nominating committee puts together a slate. That slate gets presented at the next week at the May board meeting. So let's say John Doe is nominated as chairperson. You ask them at the board meeting, do you accept the nomination? They can so accept or decline, and then take additional nominations from the floor. And if there are none, nominations are closed and move to the next position.
Yes, you go through each position.
got it. Yeah, and so essentially that's done At the meeting.
At the May board meeting, yes.
I have a question around, not, not like in depth, but just like, what is the role of, I think, chair, vice chair, second vice chair, I get, is secretary would be minutes. Assistant secretary would be minutes if the secretary can't make it. And then can anyone speak to the roles of treasurer, community officer, and then sergeant at arms or assistant sergeant at arms? Like what, in a sentence, like what is the treasurer supposed to do?
Yeah.
These are all good questions. I'm going to defer to Julio.
Yeah. The back in the day, the treasurer actually kept track of money, like funds. They don't do that anymore. In our bylaws, the treasurer is a member of the Finance and Bylaws Committee and provides a report of the board's budget every September. The community engagement officer is our primary liaison to CBOs and community organizations, and helps with can help with community events. Sergeant at arms and assistant sergeant at arms helps with maintaining order in the room, if particularly at public hearings, or if they're you know maintains people to asks people to stay quiet and things like that. And also what we've added is they're helping out with passing out the microphone at our in-person meetings.
With the treasurer role, where you're saying they're on the finance committee, is that there also the expectation that they help with the, every year when we do like the budget planning? Or is that still the chair of that finance committee?
That's still chair of the Finance and Bylaws Committee.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. So, in the past, we had a now defunct nonprofit. Would that also be the treasurer's responsibility?
It would not, no. That is separate.
Okay.
And I announced this earlier, but I should have done this before the full committee was here. We are going to step into executive session, but not just yet. Just wanted to kind of inform you of a procedural thing. Okay, any other questions, any other thoughts or comments? And then I will entertain a question from the audience, whether Zoom or here in. Yeah, so executive session is basically the committee is gonna, the idea is, given the sometimes sensitive nature of discussing candidly the pros and cons of specific individuals, we feel like executive session gives us a way to have open conversations about some of these sensitive topics around specific individuals. So I think the process, obviously we want there to be a lot of daylight, and we just outlined the process. But as we start to talk about personalities and people, it's best done in private so that we can have a candid conversation and not worry about, well, I don't want to say this because it might sound X or Y to someone, or so that's basically executive session. So first from the committee, any questions or other comments, and then I'll entertain other questions from the other board members. Have a,
Executive session will include our members that are online, right? Or,
it will include only the committee members, just the four of us.
oh, just so Julio.
Well, yeah.
Julio is not part of the
Got it.
deliberations on the actual slate. He's just
Correct. Just to clarify, the chair is ex officio on any committee, but I will not be participating in the executive session.
Yeah.
Julio, regarding the executive session, does that mean I stop the Zoom and the YouTube?
That's correct.
Thank you.
I have one last question is, did people contact CB7 or the chair of this committee to say if they were interested in running for a position? And is that something that is shared now or shared later? Yeah.
We received one email from a board member nominating themselves. That was Esteban Chavez for chairperson. But that's the only thing we got via email.
And I can discuss in executive session whether someone reached out to me as well. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So if nothing else from the committee, anybody from the members who are not part of the committee, any questions, comments, anything you all want to say before we go into executive session?
So if we want to nominate someone, do we do it after you guys come out from your meeting or before?
That's my understanding, Jerry, but Julio, if you want to weigh in and clarify that.
That's actually a good point. If they're not a member of the committee, they can speak now or nominate themselves on the floor in May and next week's meeting.
Okay. So I'll wait a couple minutes if there's any nominations from the board members on Zoom or in the room. Speak now.
Hi, it's Pat Ruiz. How are you this evening?
Hey, Pat.
Hi, I am putting it on the record that I am nominating myself for chair of the board.
Duly noted. Thank you, Pat.
Quick question.
Sure.
Other nominations will have to wait until the meeting next week?
Other nominations from the floor, as I understand it, yes, obviously, yeah. So,
Okay.
right, Julio, is that correct?
That's correct.
Thank you.
Can I nominate someone that is not on this call?
Sure. Go ahead, Jeff.
Two nominations. I will nominate Cynthia as a first vice chair, or vice chair, sorry, and I nominate myself as the first vice chair or second vice chair.
Okay, just to be clear, you're nominating Cynthia Jeffers as first vice, and you're nominating yourself as second vice, correct?
Yes, yes.
Thank you. Duly noted. No, I'm happy to entertain any questions or comments from, yeah.
So I guess the question is, so only members of the committee can nominate people at this time, right? Or, yeah.
No. As again, Julio, I think we are entertaining nominations from whoever's in the room at this moment, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, so feel free to make some nominations. And also at the May meeting, and also at the May meeting, exactly. Yes, absolutely.
Nominations on the floor.
Not too late. And the slate,
Just
yeah.
tonight. You have another opportunity next Wednesday.
Oh, I guess just to point out, I would like to nominate myself for community engagement officer.
Hi, I would like to nominate Pat Ruiz for chair, Cynthia Jeffers for first vice chair, and Jerry Chan for second vice chair.
I have one more for you, if that's okay.
Sure. Keep it
Jerry,
coming.
I agree with Jerry for second vice chair and what's his name? John DeLuper to continue as secretary. I believe he has an interest. And he is currently the secretary.
Great. Okay. I think I'm going to leave it there. And again, at this point, I am going to convene us to executive session.
Thank you all. Good night.
Thank you. Good night.
We don't need to sign back on, right?
No, I think we're
No.
gonna my plan is to end the meeting once we deliberate. And then we'll announce it at the next board meeting. So yeah, you don't have to, we're done basically. Thank you so much for coming.
I got 32 more miles. Come on. Thank you.